It's been a long day. And the sky has closed its eyes. The wind has settled into a slow breath. And the rain, gentle but endless, taps against your window like a lullaby. You don't have to do anything now. There's nowhere to be. No words left to speak. No thoughts you need to chase. This is your time. A quiet hour set aside for only one thing. Peace. You've stepped away from the world. And into a small cabin tucked deep in the forest. Outside, the trees sway softly in the storm. But in here, it's warm. A candle burns low on the table. Its flame dancing lazily with the shadows. There's a teacup beside it, still steaming, waiting just for you. The fire crackles in the hearth. Its glow spreading across wooden floors. And all around you, the quiet symphony of the rain begins its song. Every drop, a heartbeat. Every rumble of thunder, a distant drum. Echoing through a forest that's fast asleep. Tonight, I want to tell you a story. One meant for nights like this. A story woven not to startle, but to soothe. It doesn't rush. It doesn't shout. It flows like water, slow and sure. Carving gentle paths through your thoughts. And guiding them, slowly, toward rest. You don't have to listen too closely. You don't have to try to remember. Just let the words wash over you. Like rain slipping down a rooftop. This story was born in shadow and rain. Passed down in quiet voices from one dreamer to another. And tonight, it finds its way to you. You are safe now. You are warm. You are welcome. Let the rhythm of the storm carry you inward. Deeper into stillness. And deeper. Into the quiet place where stories bloom like stars. So breathe. Gently. Let your body rest. And let your mind drift. I'm right here with you. The night has only just begun. And the rain is just beginning to speak. Now, imagine yourself standing just beyond the cabin's door. Under a thick old umbrella. Staring into the heart of a rain-soaked forest. The path ahead is narrow. Blanketed in soft pine needles, dark with moisture. The air smells like wet earth, like moss. Like something ancient and unspoken. You take your first step. And the ground gives slightly beneath your boots. A quiet, satisfying press into the soft, living floor of the woods. The umbrella above you shelters you from the full weight of the storm. But you can still hear it. Each raindrop hitting the canopy above with a soft patter. Like distant fingers drumming a lullaby. The trees, tall and dignified, lean gently in the wind. Their branches sway in rhythm with the night. As if even they are listening to the rain's soft song. A low mist winds through their trunks. Curling like smoke between the roots. It moves slowly. Almost watching you. And you walk. With each step. Your shoulders loosen. Your breath slows. And the forest begins to welcome you. Owls watch silently from above. Raindrops dangle from every leaf. And somewhere far away, the faint howl of wind twists through the trees. Not cold, not harsh, but old. You pause for a moment. Just to listen. To feel how the storm has wrapped itself around this night. Not as a threat, but as a guardian. A curtain drawn to hide you from the worries of the world. Deeper now. The trail narrows. Your umbrella brushes the lower branches. Shedding raindrops that slide down your shoulders like tiny, curious hands. You pass a tree with carvings in its bark. Initials, maybe. Or a name, long forgotten. The mist is thicker now. It gathers in pools over the path. Glowing faintly in the moonlight. And still. You walk. There's no rush here. Just you. and the sound of your breath, and the rain, wrapping you in rhythm, steady and kind. You glance up. The sky is hidden by leaves and darkness, but the faint glow of moonlight presses through. Silver threads weave across branches. Raindrops cling like stars. And the world feels hushed, as though it's waiting for the story to unfold. Waiting for the part where the forest reveals what it's been keeping. Safe and dry, beneath the shelter of storm and shadow. You don't know what you're walking toward. But you know this path was meant for you. The deeper you go, the quieter the world becomes. Not in silence, but in softness. Like the forest is breathing with you. And the storm, far from chasing you away, is guiding you home. You walk, and the path begins to widen. The trees giving way to something softer ahead. Through the mist and branches, a faint, golden glow pulses like a heartbeat in the darkness. A light. Not the cold flicker of street lamps, but the warm, steady shimmer of something older. Something waiting. As you draw closer, you see it clearly now. A cabin, nestled in a small clearing, half wrapped in fog and shadow. It stands sturdy against the wind, the gentle curl of smoke rising from its chimney like a greeting. A single lantern glows in the window. Not too bright, but warm enough to melt the chill that lingers in your chest. The rain softens as you approach. Still steady, still whispering, but lighter now. Like the storm is easing its grip. As if this place is protected. A moment passes. You stop just before the clearing. The cabin is framed by tall, old trees. Their wet trunks glistening like polished stone. Moss clings to their roots. Ferns line the path like gentle sentries. The wind hushes. Even the thunder pulls away. Its voice now just a distant echo beyond the hills. For a moment, it feels like time itself pauses. And then, another flicker of light. Not from the window, but from the lightning in the sky. Far behind the trees. A silent flash illuminates the cabin's wooden beams. The curve of the porch. The outline of a rocking chair left gently swaying in the wind. It's a scene from a memory. One you can't quite place, but feels deeply familiar. You step forward again. Slowly. Your boots sink into the damp ground. And droplets slide down the folds of your coat. The trail ends at the cabin's steps. 3 old wooden boards, worn smooth with time. You run your fingers across the railing. Damp with rain. The porch creaks under your weight. But not in protest. In recognition. The door is slightly ajar. Not open. But not locked either. As if it's been waiting for you. The kind of door you don't knock on. You simply enter. But before you do, you pause. One last breath of the forest air. One last look over your shoulder. Behind you, the trees rise tall and quiet. The fog is thicker now, curling around your footprints like soft ribbon. The storm hasn't passed. But here, you found shelter. You found the place the story has been leading you to. Not just a cabin. A threshold. And as your hand gently pushes open the wooden door, a warm rush of air greets you. Filled with the scent of firewood. Of old paper and pine resin. Of comfort. You step inside. And the storm stays. Outside. You close the door behind you. And with that gentle click, the sound of the storm softens. Still there. Still alive. But distant now. Like a memory whispering behind wooden walls. You're inside. And here. It's warm. The air greets you first. Not sharp like the forest wind, but gentle, almost heavy with calm. It smells of pine wood and smoke. Of dry leaves pressed between pages. Of something steeping in a ceramic mug nearby. A fire crackles from the hearth across the room. Soft flames licking logs that glow like amber stones. The light it gives is golden. It dances on the wooden beams overhead, flickering gently across the cabin's simple interior. You take a few slow steps forward. Your boots press against a woven rug, thick and warm beneath your feet. To your left, a table set for one. A steaming cup of herbal tea rests there, the surface still swirling, as though it's just been poured. A book lies beside it, open to a page where someone had paused. Waiting, perhaps, for you to return. There's a chair by the fireplace. A soft wool blanket is draped over its arm, inviting without words. You run your fingers along the bookshelf. Old hardcovers with faded spines. Their titles too worn to read. But somehow, you know every story they hold. The walls are lined with quiet memories. A pair of worn boots in the corner. A lantern on a hook. Dried lavender hung near the window. This cabin is small, but it holds something rare. A silence that listens. A stillness that welcomes. You sit. Slowly. Sinking into the chair near the fire. The cushion is soft. Molded by years of quiet nights just like this one. You pull the blanket over your lap. And the warmth begins to settle in your chest. The fire pops gently. Embers drifting upward in a quiet glow. You lift the cup of tea. Feel the heat on your fingertips. Breathe in the steam. Chamomile. Maybe cinnamon. And something wild and floral. Like dried petals gathered from the edge of a dream. The first sip is slow. And in that moment, everything slows with it. The storm outside taps gently on the cabin's roof. No longer a voice of chaos, but a rhythm. A heartbeat. You lean back. Eyes half closed. And the fire becomes your sky. Flames move like rivers, curling into shapes that feel familiar, though you couldn't name them if you tried. And in that flickering light, you feel something soften within you. A quiet unraveling. Of tension. Of thought. Of time. This cabin isn't just shelter from the storm. It's a threshold. A space between worlds. Between waking and sleep. Between everything you left behind. And everything still waiting to come. You rest here. Because something deeper is calling. Not loudly. Not urgently. But patiently. Waiting to tell you a story. And the fire is just beginning to crackles. And you sip your tea once more. The warmth now resting deep within you. Outside, the storm hums like a lullaby. The wind brushing gently through tall pine needles. The rain whispering across the cabin's roof. And then, from the far side of the room, a sound. Not startling. Not sudden. Just the soft creak of old floorboards. Like the cabin stretching its limbs. You look up. And in the doorway, lit gently by firelight, stands an old woman. She is wrapped in a knitted shawl. Silver hair braided neatly over one shoulder. Eyes kind, like they've watched 1,000 winters. She doesn't speak right away. Instead, she watches you. With a smile that feels older than words. And when she steps forward, there's no sound but the hush of her bare feet on the wood. In her hands, she carries a weathered book. its leather cover cracked and soft. Its pages slightly curled at the corners. As though touched by the wind and rain it remembers. She kneels beside the fire, setting the book gently on the low wooden table between you. I hoped, she says softly, that someone would come before the last page faded. Her voice is like wine through dried leaves. Quiet, and full of memory. You say nothing. Not out of fear. But reverence. The moment feels delicate. Like breath held between two stars. She gazes into the fire. Her fingers, wrinkled but steady, rest on the book's spine. This forest, she begins, has always whispered stories. But only those who walk through rain and shadow ever truly hear them. She turns the book toward you. Its cover etched with symbols you don't recognize. Yet feel you've seen before, perhaps in dreams. Or the folds of a tree's bark. This cabin, she continues, was built for such nights. When the storm remembers. When the woods stir. When a soul like yours wanders far enough to listen. She smiles again. Not the smile of someone trying to comfort you, but of someone who knows you are already safe. Would you like a story? You nod. You don't need to speak. She sees the answer in your eyes. Tired, curious, ready. She opens the book. The pages rustle like autumn leaves. Then listen, she whispers. And let the forest speak. The fire pops gently. Rain taps softly overhead. And her voice begins to carry you deeper. She touches the edge of the page. As if it's sacred. The fire's glow catches the book's old leather. Worn and cracked like tree bark in winter. The book opens slowly. With a sigh. Like it's been waiting to breathe. And there, in faint gold ink, the first story begins to glow. Her voice rises. Not loud, but sure. Like the gentle tide of memory lapping at the shore. This is the story, she says, of a traveler who lost their way. On a night when the rain forgot to stop. Once, long ago. Perhaps in this very forest. Or a dream that remembers it. There wandered a soul. Not lost by accident. But by purpose, asterisk. The traveler had walked far. Through valleys that whispered secrets. Over rivers that sang their sorrow. And one night, as a storm rolled in from the edges of the world, the traveler came to a crossroads. The signs had no words. Just symbols carved in stone. Older than language. Deeper than memory. They chose the left path. Not because they knew it. But because it was wrapped in mist. And mystery. The rain began to fall. Soft at first. Like fingertips tapping on silk. But it grew stronger. Colder. Insistent. Trees rose around them. Tall as shadows in forgotten dreams. Birds didn't sing. The only sound was the traveler's breath. And the drumming of rain on their cloak. And then, the path disappeared. Swallowed by mud. Fog. And the falling night. The traveler stood still. Utterly alone. No moon. No stars. No sound but the storm. But then, from the darkness, a light. Faint. Flickering. Moving. It weaved between the trees. A lantern, swaying gently in invisible hands. The traveler followed it. Not out of certainty. But out of the silence that asked them to. Through puddles. Past stones covered in moss and thyme. They walked. The rain did not stop. But somehow, it no longer felt cold. The light led them to a clearing. A circle of stones, smooth and warm despite the storm. At the center. A tree. Old. Twisted. Its bark like charcoal. But its heart glowing red. As though fire slept inside it. Beneath it sat a figure. Not man. Not woman. Something else. A rain watcher. Keeper of the paths lost to storms. Their eyes shimmered silver. Their voice sounded like wind wrapped in water. You are not lost, they said. You are found. Because you listened. The traveler knelt. Rain washed over their skin. But did not chill them. The rain watcher reached forward. And from their hands spilled a sound. Not words. But memory. Thunder echoed far away. And in a moment. The traveler remembered why they had come. To forget. To rest. To become still enough. That the world could speak to them again. The caretaker closes the page. Her eyes are damp. Not from sorrow. But from reverence. That. You lean back in the chair. Tea warming your fingers. As the old woman turns her gaze to the window. Outside. The storm deepens. Not in fury. But in presence. The wind brushes past the wooden walls. Speaking in sighs. Low murmurs. The kind you can only hear when your thoughts are still. The fire softens. The room dimming slightly. As if the forest beyond has drawn a little closer. Then. A sound. Not loud. But very, very old. Like breath on the back of your neck. A whisper. No word you can quite catch. Not yet. But it's there. Leora. You rise. Not entirely of your own will. The cabin's door creaks open slowly. Not with your hand. But by the wind's gentle urging. You step onto the porch. Rain dances over the wood. The forest looms beyond. A sea of shadows. Branches swaying. Leaves dripping. And again. Leora. This time clearer. A name? Or something deeper? A memory that doesn't belong to you. But feels like it does. You step into the rain. The cold touches you gently. Not cruel. But intimate. As if the storm recognizes your heartbeat. The wind weaves through the trees. Leaves flutter down like messages. Mist crawls low over the mossy ground. The whisper returns. But this time, it's not just a name. It's a voice. Soft. Female. Ancient. Come find me, it says. I've waited in the rain for too long. In the trees. Something stirs. Not danger. But longing. The longing of a spirit left behind. And suddenly. You understand the story without being told. There was once a woman. Leora. A healer. A singer of storms. A soul tied to the forest. Whose voice could calm wild beasts. And guide the lost through thunder. But one day. She was lost herself. Taken by a storm. Too strong even for her songs. The villagers searched. But the forest closed its arms. And ever since. On nights like this. Her voice rides the wind. Calling out. Not for rescue. But for remembrance. A breeze wraps around you. Warm, fragrant, like lilacs and smoke. The rain softens. A figure appears through the trees. Faint, silver white. Wearing a cloak of mist and falling petals. She does not speak. She only sings. A tune like dripping leaves. Like sorrow and peace folded together. You feel your breath slow. The forest breathes with you. Her eyes meet yours. And you know. She is not lonely anymore. The whisper fades. The wind rests. You open your eyes. And you are back on the porch. The cup of tea still warm in your hands. The storm hasn't ended. But it no longer feels distant. It feels like it knows your name. You sit by the hearth again. Warmth resting on your skin like a wool blanket. The old woman doesn't speak. She stares into the flames, as if reading their flicker. You begin to drift inward. That sleepy place between thoughts. When? Knock. A sharp rap against the wooden door. Just once. Then silence. You both turn. But she only smiles. As if she was expecting it. Would you mind? Her voice is gentle. Not alarmed. Just curious. You rise. The floor creaks under your feet. The firelight glows against the wooden walls. Dancing faintly as you reach the door. You open it slowly. And find only the storm. Rain sweeping sideways in silver sheets. Wind playing its sad song through the trees. But then. On the step. Lies a single envelope. Pale. Slightly yellowed. Edges soaked and curling from the rain. No footprints on the porch. No shadow retreating. Just. This letter. You kneel and pick it up. The paper is heavy, like old parchment. No name. No seal. But somehow. It feels like it's meant for you. Back inside. You sit beside the fire once more. The woman eyes the letter but does not interrupt. She sips her tea, waiting. You open it. Inside, a single folded note. Ink blurred slightly by the damp. You smooth the page and read aloud. The words forming as if whispered directly into your heart. To the one who walks in rain. Who listens to trees. And sits in forgotten rooms. There are stories you were born to remember. Tonight, the forest speaks. Not with thunder. But with memories wrapped in stormlight. Seek the red oak at the river's bend. Beneath its roots, a secret waits. But take your time. Let the rain teach you first. Asterisk. Studio microphone narration continues, gentle and introspective. You lower the letter slowly. The fire seems brighter now. The rain gentler, almost shy. The woman closes her book without a word. And instead of another tale, she leans forward and says, "That envelope has come here before. But it only opens when the right soul is sitting in this chair." You feel a shiver, not of cold, but of connection. Something ancient has noticed you. Not in danger, but in invitation. The woman stands slowly. Her shadow on the wooden floor is long, flickering gently as she walks to the shelf, and pulls down an old map. She hands it to you with a faint smile. You'll need this. The river bends more than once. Outside, the storm continues. But now, it feels less like a storm, and more like a guide. Whispering. Inviting. And you know. The night is not yet done. There are still secrets written in the rain. Still paths only visible by lightning. And stories buried in roots. Waiting for someone to listen. The wind pushes once more against the cabin walls. And the fire flickers sharply, just once. As if stirred by something unseen. Then. A sound. A creak. The door. It opens with a slow breath. Hinges groaning like they've awoken from a dream. A figure steps through the threshold. Rain pours off his cloak in soft streams, gathering in a small puddle on the wooden floor. He is not afraid. nor cold. He is, still. The caretaker rises slowly. Her eyes already understanding. She's seen this before. The visitor. A traveler, with a face softened by time. Eyes that seem to carry miles of memories. And peace. He removes his hood. His hair is damp, silver-touched. He holds a lantern, glowing not too bright. Just enough to remind the room. That warmth had followed him inside. I heard the story, he says softly. His voice steady like falling rain. I've been following it for a long time. Each night, a little closer. Until it led me here. He sets the lantern gently on the table. Its glow mixes with the firelight, casting two shadows against the cabin walls. One new, one old. But both familiar, somehow. He does not remove his coat. Nor sit without invitation. There is a grace in his movements. A kind of silence in his steps. That feels practiced, respectful. The caretaker nods. Motioning to the chair across from you. He sits. And for a moment. No one speaks. Just the storm murmuring outside. And the fire whispering inside. A balance. A harmony. The traveler looks at the old book. Now resting between both of them on the table. I used to hear her voice in the rain. He says quietly. The caretaker. Her stories would ride the thunder. And settle in the puddles outside my window. I didn't know they were real. The caretaker smiles. She lifts the teapot and pours a warm cup for him. The steam rises, wrapping itself around the moment. It smells faintly of mint and pine. He sips. You watch. And outside, the rain becomes steady again. A calm rhythm, like a song reaching its chorus. Will you tell another story? He asks. The caretaker looks to you. Her eyes ask the same question. Would you like to hear more? You nod. Quietly. Because some voices don't need volume. To be understood. The flames flicker low. A quiet stillness settles in the cabin. As though time has curled into a blanket and fallen asleep. You stare at the map again. Tracing the curling river bend with your fingertips. The old woman no longer speaks. But her presence lingers. Like the fading scent of lavender in a warm room. And then. You hear a voice. Not hers. Not yours. But a voice from somewhere, deeper. Let me tell you a story, within the story. A whisper. As if the walls themselves have remembered something. You close your eyes. And in your mind, the cabin dissolves into mist. You are standing. In another place entirely. A forest, yes. But one not bound by time. Rain falls here. But it floats slowly, as if reluctant to land. The puddles reflect not trees. But stars. You look down into one. And see a moonrise. Happening in reverse. The sky above is violet. Shimmering with silvery wisps of clouds. That move like breath over glass. And before you. A figure stands. Cloaked. Their face hidden beneath a hood. Woven from threads of twilight. In their hand. A mirror. Oval. Framed in aged silver. Its surface glows softly. Not with reflection. But with memory. This mirror, the figure says. Does not show your face, it shows your sleep. You step forward, curious. The mirror brightens as you approach. And inside it, you see. Not yourself. But the dreams you once had as a child. Dreams of flying through endless night skies. Dreams of running barefoot in meadows made of light. Dreams of stars whispering lullabies. Just for you. The figure kneels, placing the mirror gently on a mossy stone. Around you, the trees pulse gently with blue light. Their leaves shimmer as if made of glass. And every drop of rain sings a note when it lands. Time slows. Then pauses. The wind freezes mid-whirl. A raindrop halts just before touching your sleeve. In this space, you are weightless, thoughtless, peaceful. And the figure continues. This forest is older than ours, older than storms. It remembers every story that was ever told, even the ones forgotten by morning. You feel your eyes grow heavier. The dream forest begins to blur around its edges. The stars and the puddles flicker once more, then fade. And with a sigh as soft as silk, the mirror closes like a flower at dusk. The trees slowly dissolve. The hooded figure vanishes into rain. And the sound of the fire returns. The fire's glow begins to soften. Its flames no longer crackle with urgency, but hum softly, like a lullaby nearly finished. Outside, the storm loses its voice. The thunder has taken its final bow, retreating into the distant hills. Only a whisper of rain remains, tapping gently like fingertips on velvet. The cabin feels warmer now. Not just in heat, but in peace. You watch the traveler. That quiet figure from the book's last story. He smiles once, briefly. A gentle expression, full of understanding. He doesn't speak. He just opens the cabin door and steps out into the misty dawn. His boots press into the damp earth one final time. Then, he is gone. A silhouette swallowed peacefully by the woods. As though the forest had always been waiting to welcome him home. The caretaker, still seated by the fire, closes her book slowly, as if the leather spine sighs from years of holding secrets. She looks up at you. Her smile is knowing. Not one word is needed. You both understand that some stories were meant to be heard only once. On a night like this, when the sky weeps gently, and the stars choose silence over shining, she stands, her shawl falling loosely from her shoulders, and places the book on a small wooden shelf, among other volumes. Their spines faded, their pages heavy with dreams. You look out the cabin window. The storm is nearly over. The trees sway gently, no longer in protest, but in rhythm, like dancers bowing to the earth. The sky has begun to blush, a pale silver blue. The fog lifts slowly, revealing the outlines of hills that had disappeared into the night. In the distance, a lone owl calls, not in warning, but in farewell. The candle on the table flickers for the last time, and then stills. Its flame content. Its job done. You pull the blanket tighter around your shoulders. The chair beneath you creaks softly. Not from movement, but from memory. You close your eyes. In your mind, you still hear the rain. Soft, rhythmic. A heartbeat from the sky. You still feel the warmth of the cabin, the safety of the fire, the weight of the book that held 100 storms. And slowly, your thoughts begin to float. Not rush, not race, but drift. Like a leaf caught in the gentlest breeze. Like a dream that knows exactly where to go. Your breath slows. Your chest rises and falls, like waves on a sleeping sea. And far, far away, you hear the caretaker whisper, almost too soft to catch. Sleep now, little wanderer. The forest keeps your story safe. Thank you for spending this stormy night with us. If this brought you peace, comfort, or rest, please consider subscribing and joining our quiet little corner of the night. New calming stories and sleep sounds await you every evening. Subscribe to the channel. Like, share, sleep deeply.